51, 59 years ago, wearing the same uniform, when Tom's grandfather, Thomas F. Martin, was the superintendent of the training school, as it was called then. And we're fortunate enough to have his daughter here today and her husband, Tom Martin's daughter. So, Tom Martin was a fine gentleman and an officer. He taught us well at the academy. He had great respect for the troopers. When they signed up, he got us together, give us a nice talking to, and that was the rules. We had to listen to him. That's where Tom got his experience from. John Fine was the governor, and Commissioner Colonel Cecil Wilhelm was our commissioner. I served 36 years and retired in 1987. I celebrated the 50th anniversary in 1955, and here it is, I'm celebrating the 105th anniversary. It's quite a feat. Now, in 51, when I entered the state police, the complement was 1,800 troopers. That was not much for 45,000 miles of road to patrol, plus all the crime work to be done by our men. 1,800 men was spread, but we don't have the traffic we had then. I mean, you get on a road, you know, it's one or two cars travel, but then you get on a busy highway where you're loaded. It was a lot of fun. So we were semi-military with inspections every Saturday, had to be single for 3 years, and lived in the barrack-style regiment. My salary after 1 year in 1952 was $2,345, which included room and board, our uniforms, and equipment. We worked 16-hour days. 2 nights, or 1 night, 2 nights and 1 day we had off, and the traffic sergeant had a lot to do with your life in those days. He would tell you when you get off, when you come back to work, what to do, wash cars, shovel snow, mow the grass. We had to do all that in them 16 hours. So anyway, to give you a typical day's work, when I was assigned to Troop A, Harrisburg, and then assigned to the substation at Likens. We had 1 corporal and 4 troopers on that station. We worked our 16-hour days. A typical day would be breakfast in the morning, 8 to 12 out on patrol, dinner, lunch, back on the desk from 1 to 5. Then we had our supper, and then we go out on patrol from 6 to 10. And of course, when you were done, we had to stay at the barracks or at our building, and we had to take the phone to bed with us. Accident during the night, you would have to call the next guy, it's due out in the morning. So that was, at that time, it didn't happen that often, but when they were short of men and personnel, the traffic sergeant had a tough job of trying to do his regular assignments. A lot of times, and at times, your day off, it would never say a day off, it would say they'd give you 24 hours off. So you would go out, a roll call at 8 o'clock for patrol, and they'd advise you that you're off at 12 noon, you go out on patrol, you're off from 12 noon to 12 noon tomorrow. When you come back in, you go back out on patrol. So actually, they got you working, and you never had a day off. You had 24 hours off. So, I mean, a lot of the guys, as a result of that, you know, they didn't want to go through that, and not being married, they would resign. And of course, at that time, our 1,800 men was assigned by legislature. So that's what the men had to do, and they got, let me see what else I have here. But Well, the main event down here is the celebration, the breaking ground of this school. In July of 1958, I was assigned here for the rodeo duty. And as a result of that, they had the groundbreaking ceremonies of this building. So 52 years ago, I stood right out front there. They had a little platform built with flags flying, and 4 of us troopers were assigned that honor guard detail. And Sergeant Dean was the sergeant in charge. Well, Governor Leader was the governor, George Leader was the governor at that time, and Colonel Henry was the commissioner. And of course, Sergeant Dean was down there to meet them when they come in, and with the Hershey Estates dignitaries and state officials, when they all got there, Colonel Henry said to Sergeant Dean, he said, Sergeant Caruso is going to hand the shovel to the governor. So he come tromping up to the field and says, Caruso, you're going to hand the shovel to the governor. When the speeches are over and they're done talking, you're going to hand them the... Unbeknown to me, this building was built by the General State Authorities. That was a state agency that built buildings. They built Greensburg headquarters, Lancaster headquarters, Butler headquarters, just to name a few. And they were the ones that built the buildings for us. So as a result of that, unbeknown to me, the executive director of the General State Authorities was A.J. Caruso. No relation. So evidently when Colonel Henry told Dean that Caruso is going to hand the shovel to the governor, he meant the executive director. And here he come up and told me about that. And about 15 minutes later, he came back up and he says, Caruso, forget about that assignment. He said, that's the executive director. He's going to hand the governor. So that was the event of my big time in the state police, handing the governor the shovel. So, and now I want to get over this. I want to say too long because Tom has other things to do. So after that, the bubble broke in me, and I went back and trained for the rodeo, in which I served a number of years afterwards. And I want to thank Tom for allowing me the time to tell this little story about my history here with the State Police Academy. Thank you.